How many points might they need to survive? Well, this has been a changing picture over the last 20 years of Premier League football. This is a rolling 5-season average, showing us the average points that you needed to stay up. And it's gone from, well, 37 almost, down most recently to a rolling average of just under 31. So I think a lot of that is probably down to some underperforming promoted sides who've gone back down without a whimper, but it's been a very different story this time round. So what might it be this time? So recently it's been well below a point a game, but a point a game is exactly what West Ham United have right now, but that is not guaranteed to keep them safe this time. Dean, what do you think should be the target, the number that is going to keep you from the trapdoor this time round?
I think Leeds have it already.
39?
Yeah, I do. I felt that win for Leeds against Wolves was enough to keep them safe. I might be proved wrong, but I just think it's such a tough task with so few games left for Tottenham to gather that amount of points when there's that much pressure.
Well, they could still get 46 points, Spurs. They could.
That's optimistic.
That's what Roberto De Zerbi said he's going to try and do in the final 5 games. But that's just the mathematical context I'm adding there. So we've asked the guys to make their predictions from all of those teams there that are still within possibility. And Burnley, of course, could join Wolves in the Championship as soon as Wednesday night if they lose at home to Manchester City. We'll work our way down from top to bottom. You think then that effectively that Leeds United are already safe on 39 points. But let's have a look at their remaining games. They saw off Manchester United and Wolves in their last 2 matches, back-to-back victories, and now they have got Bournemouth away before they play a Burnley side who may well be relegated. And interestingly, they've still got to play their relegation rivals, Spurs away, and finishing West Ham on the final day. So this is what Jamie and Dean have predicted. You think, both of you think that they will lose at Bournemouth, but both of you thinking it doesn't matter at all, in effect, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that, and we didn't know each other's. We're just seeing each other's for the first time. I think, listen, Bournemouth away is a tough game. Burnley at home's a game you'd expect almost every team in a division to win. But it's interesting when we go to Tottenham away, you think Leeds will go there and win. I just think it's almost a game Tottenham, nothing else can happen except you know what I mean? It just, with 2 or 3 games to go, it almost feels to me like Tottenham have to win that no matter what, by hook or by crook. So that's why I thought they might just edge that game.
But both of you have got them safe on 45, 46 points. But I'm keeping a close eye on the fact that Jamie thinks Spurs will win that head-to-head, and you both think that West Ham will win that head-to-head on the final day of the season as well. So Leeds United fans can relax and chill out because they're almost pushing for Europe with that points tally. As I said, that's still possible for Spurs as well. But what about Nottingham Forest? Awkward little game at Sunderland on Friday night, and then on paper it looks quite tough for Forest with Chelsea away, Newcastle home, Manchester United and then Bournemouth, who might well be pushing for, well, they could be pushing for Champions League football as well on that final day. Dean, you don't fancy them at Sunderland?
No, you'll be
at Sunderland.
Pleased to know. I mean, that is just a difficult place and I think Sunderland have a point to prove after the latest result. But I just, with the Europa League, obviously, semi-final coming up as well, which has to take your mind as a player. These games are so important in your career that you can't help but think about them and maybe not protect yourself, but you don't want to be injured for these games. So I think that might have an effect, but I think at home when they need to get victories, I think they will.
But I suppose it depends how many of them get involved in this European semi-final, because the way that he's talked about it and the way that Mr. Marinakis has spoken about it as well, it's very much this is the priority, staying in the Premier League.
It is, but when you're that close to doing something, and you think of the history of the club in European football, and I said I think a week or so ago that is the priority, and I think that is more than sort of the trophy. But the more I think about it, and you see them getting through and who they got through against as well, a decent side in the last round. They're playing Aston Villa as well. There's something about playing an English team that almost means that it almost feels like you've got to go full strength even more because it's an English team. Sometimes a European game, you're away from home in Europe, your own fans don't know too much about the team. You can maybe lose, you don't know the players, but it's Aston Villa. It feels like there's something more riding on it in some ways because, you know, you play them so often in the Premier League. So I think they'd have to go for it. I think it'd be difficult to rest players, or they'll certainly rest less players than they did in the previous round. But listen, I think there's a decent gap from Sunderland's Friday night. That game would be on a Thursday night. So I think it's probably the Chelsea game that would have a big effect in terms of the European game.
I think you've got Forest fans worried here, Dean, because you've got them losing 3 of the next 4.
Yes, but because I think the European game has to take your mind as a player. Supporters won't remember you staying up in years to come. They will remember if you go and win a European trophy or bring them a European pre and final. You know, I think those things, when you retire, all of a sudden, you know, get magnified a huge amount. But I hope players understand that.
I agree with what you're saying, but I almost think that if I'm the manager of Nottingham Forest, and we're thinking, OK, how many opportunities are we going to get in a semi-final of Europe, right? Does that not mean they all just go all in on Sunderland as if, like, this is like, if we win this, and then you've still got almost a week till that first semi-final on the Thursday night, if they could win that, that would put them on what, Dave?
Yeah, 3 more points.
That would put them on 39. And you'd be thinking, you know what, they're not far away now.
That's one bit we missed off the graphic, what they actually got right now, 36 points. But, I mean, I think Dean thinks exactly the same, but he just thinks that Sunderland have got too much for Nottingham on the 24th. And should point out as well that if they do get to the European final, that will go between Manchester United and Bournemouth in that final week. So then you could have a European final, and then you might need to beat Bournemouth, according to your predictions there, to get over the line, depending on whether 39 would be enough. What about West Ham United then? This is where it gets a little bit more dicey, I think. Everton at home. European chasing, Brentford away from home. Then Arsenal still very much in the title race. Newcastle United, that's Newcastle's final home game of the season, and we know what a difficult little stretch they've been on recently. They want to finish on a high. Leeds United on the final day. So we have not got much agreement here, apart from you both think they will beat Leeds on the final day, potentially to get themselves over the line. But Jamie, you don't fancy them against Everton?
No, I just think David Moyes, he knows the club, he knows that stadium, he'll know most of the players. He'll go back there. David Moyes just gets results. He went to Brentford last week, gets a little draw. I can just see them making it difficult. And, David Moyes knows his way around the Premier League, as obviously Nuno does as well. But I just think going back to West Ham, knowing the club, knowing the setup, everything about it, I think be able to come away with a point.
So it's the way that you've got them, Dean, they're on 33 right now, so you've got them moving to 36 by beating Everton, but then only edging to 37 by the time we get into that final week of the season. So this could be really nail-biting stuff.
I think so. I thought it would go to the last day anyway for West Ham in particular. They're not easy fixtures. The away games are difficult. Arsenal at home, of course, with them going for the title. But I always fancy West Ham almost against the better sides where they can really sit in and counter-attack. And then if you've got to win, in my head, I kind of feel as if Leeds are going to get to the FA Cup final as well. So I've kind of factored that in.
OK, and that point you've got them against Arsenal might deny Arsenal the title as well, West Ham United. OK, to Spurs. They both got them on over 40 points effectively, and we move on to Spurs, who occupy the 3rd relegation spot right now. Wolves away on Saturday, followed by Aston Villa away, Leeds at home, Chelsea away, Everton at home on the final day. It's not good news for Spurs fans. But Jamie, you've seen enough from 2 games under Roberto De Zerbi to think that they are at least going to get points in the next 3 games, but not to beat Wolves.
No, I just think that I've seen Wolves enough in the last few months where they've played at home against really good sides and got points. I know they're relegated now, and there's a really poor performance against Leeds, and they're relegated now. Does that have an effect on them? But we're talking the last time they won. What month was it? I mean, we're talking
December.
So December. They haven't won a Premier League game since December. I mean, it's unbelievable. So to think you're just going to go to an away game and just win, I can't see them losing the game. And listen, they could nick it. Of course they could. But I've seen other teams go there and find it difficult. Wolves, the way they set up, they're not a great side.
You haven't seen enough, Dean. You think Spurs are going down?
Yes, I don't really see the character within the team, the mindset. Being a footballer and going in day to day is the best job ever. It's just the best. But going in, week out, when you're in the bottom three, isn't very nice. It just isn't. The players won't be used to it. I don't see enough character and leaders, togetherness. I just haven't seen it enough to realisation of where they are to get out of it.
Well, there you go. There's the final outcome. Both of them have got Spurs dropping to the Championship. How about that? With West Ham surviving and Forest and Leeds relatively comfortable. But we can guarantee Spurs that it doesn't go down to their predictions. It's actually what happens on the field that really matters. So there's a crumb of comfort.